Please turn your sound on to hear full explanations of our answers. Thank you. The question is how to cope with tinnitus. And the answer is learn not to react to it. And I'm not taking for granted your struggle at the moment with this pretty debilitating condition. I'm not doing that at all. This is, I'm trying to explain to you here that coping with tinnitus is actually not defeat or anything like that. That unlike other conditions, learning how to cope with tinnitus brings great advantages, and I'll explain why. Because you see, tinnitus is one of those conditions where the more anxious you are about it, the more aggravated you get by it, then the worse it becomes. Any stress or anxiety, focused towards your tinnitus when you're feeling aggravated by it, that actually there's a concept called a negative feedback loop. And so when you experience these emotions, then your body reacts and actually makes your tinnitus louder, or makes your perception of it louder. Either way, it's the same net effect, because the tinnitus sounds aren't real sounds. They are effectively created in your brain. So what you need to do is, if you learn how to cope with it, if you learn how not to get stressed by it, how not to emotionally react to it, how not to let it dominate your thoughts negatively, then actually not only will you be more at ease with it, but it will also appear to reduce in intensity and make that task even easier. Let me make an analogy so that you can really understand this. It's a bit like if you imagine that you're on an aeroplane or in a waiting room or somewhere where you can't move, and there's a baby nearby and the baby starts to cry. Now there's two ways that people tend to react to this. People either get annoyed by it, and the longer it goes on, the more annoyed they get, and it's for them not a pleasant experience. But then you'll notice that there are other people, and they aren't necessarily parents either, but there are other people who, they hear the baby crying, they notice it, but after that they just ignore it. It doesn't affect them. They can be happily reading a newspaper or reading a book or doing something else. They don't need to actually block out that sound, and mask it with their own music or anything like that. But to them, it's almost like that baby doesn't even exist. And that is really where you're looking to get with learning to cope with your tinnitus. You're learning how not to react to it. In terms of what's available out there that your doctor can direct you to, there's very little, but with the exception of one technique, it is worth checking out tinnitus retraining therapy. That is a type of therapy where you're exposed to different sounds and you train your body to ignore certain sounds. And the idea of that is that by doing that, and some of these sounds are similar to your tinnitus, that by doing that you're able to actually more easily ignore your own tinnitus sounds. So that is actually one of the really good techniques out there, and it's been around for a while. So ask your doctor about it, and hopefully you're covered for it on your insurance. But it is helpful to many people. I just want to leave you with this. I want to direct you to there's a site down below that many people who've had tinnitus have benefited from, and they benefited in two ways. One is various strategies to actually reduce the intensity of their tinnitus. There are small changes you can make in your life, diet, lifestyle, environment, supplementation, that will actually reduce your tinnitus in the first place. And also this resource has details on how to cope with your tinnitus as well, just in the way that I was describing before, how to not let it affect you so that it almost becomes irrelevant to you. So please have a look, click the link in the description box below, check it out. I know you'll benefit from it, and I'll see you soon in another video. Take care.